African colonial soldiers. Introduction. African colonial soldiers refer to the men from various African colonies who served in European armies during the colonial era. Colonial empires, European powers, including France, Britain, Belgium, and Germany, recruited African soldiers to bolster their forces in their overseas colonies. Recruitment methods. African colonial soldiers were often conscripted or recruited under various systems, including the indigenous or Torelo troops. Roles and duties. These soldiers served in various capacities, from frontline infantry to support roles such as porters and laborers. Significance in World Wars. African colonial soldiers played a crucial role in both World War I and World War II, fighting in European theaters. Torelos Senegalais. The Torelos Senegalais, from French West Africa, were among the most well-known African colonial units. Conditions of service. African soldiers often faced challenging conditions, including discrimination, lower pay, and inadequate medical care. Loyalty and conflict. African colonial soldiers demonstrated loyalty to their colonial powers, but some also joined nationalist movements and sought independence for their countries. Demobilization and post-war challenges. After the World Wars, many African soldiers were demobilized and faced difficulties reintegrating into civilian life. Contributions to infrastructure. Some colonial soldiers were instrumental in building infrastructure like roads and railways, which furthered colonial economic interests. Cultural exchange. The service of African soldiers exposed them to new cultures and ideas, which contributed to the later independence movements. Impact on colonial legacy. The service of African colonial soldiers led to complex legacies in post-colonial African nations. Recognition and commemoration. Efforts have been made to recognize the contributions of African colonial soldiers through memorials and commemorations. Sacrifices in combat. African soldiers made significant sacrifices in combat, often facing the same dangers as their European counterparts. Fight for equal rights. Some African soldiers who had served in European armies used their experiences to fight for equal rights and improve conditions. Post-war migration. After the World Wars, some African soldiers migrated to Europe, contributing to the continent's post-war reconstruction and diversification. Literary and artistic representation. The experiences of African colonial soldiers have been explored in literature and art, shedding light on their struggles and sacrifices. Continuing debate. The role of African colonial soldiers is still a topic of debate in historical and political contexts, exploring their impact on the modern world. Pan-Africanism. African colonial soldiers' experiences contributed to the development of the Pan-African movement, advocating for African unity and independence. Conclusion. The story of African colonial soldiers is a complex narrative, reflecting the multifaceted history of colonialism, war, and the eventual pursuit of independence.